Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Reload Revelation, the show where we break down weapons, talk about current events in the two-way movement, all in all, defend our freedom. I'm your host, Ryan Souls, and it's just absolutely wonderful that you stopped by to join me. So please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll take this journey on together. On this very first episode, I got a really hot story for you. Governor Dan McKee just recently tweeted that he was signing a document behind Moms Demand Action, a advocacy group for anti-Second Amendment rights, which means they don't want you to have guns, but I do. So to them, not so good. To this governor, apparently he decided to make a quote saying, and this year let's finally pass an assault weapons ban in Rhode Island. It's time. Well, clearly it's not. What they mean is like something like this. They want to ban this. Now, if I show you clear, there's nothing in the bolt, nothing in the magazine, not even a magazine, like, I don't know, this one. Oop, can't show that. It's easier to see on this side too. There's a fire and a safe. Fire, meaning it's off safe. Safe, meaning it's not going to fire. Now, what they're talking about is they want a third stop. And guess what? This one don't do it. This one doesn't have the fun switch. They're talking assault weapons as anything that when you fire it, more than one round goes out. However, every single semi-automatic, rifle, handgun, weapon in general, one trigger pull, one round goes off. That's just basic education. And unfortunately, this man decided to go with emotion instead of actual thinking and really ask himself, well, what is an assault weapon? Now, is there assault rifles used by the military? Well, of course. But they have either fully automatic 3-round burst or semi-automatic, or all three. Civilians are not allowed, under normal circumstances, to have fully automatic weapons. It's just not the case. The Firearms Policy Coalition, also known as FPC, recently filed a suit or appeal to the Supreme Court. We have filed a brief with SCOTUS supporting the NRA's First Amendment lawsuit challenging New York's coercive anti-rights practices, which subject private companies to intensified regulatory scrutiny for doing business with the Pro-2A organization. What they're talking about here is plain and simple. You know, in the state of New York, if you were seen doing business with someone who is even to be thought of Pro-2A, they're just going to bury you in red tape. I'm glad that they did this, and I'm praying and hoping that the Supreme Court upholds this appeal and saying, you know what? You guys are right. Shouldn't do that. And then they sanction the crap out of these people that are just trying to do business. It's not even like 2A business. It's just business. And whether or not they like guns, it really shouldn't matter. You know, just because someone like me likes guns, likes firearms and everything about it, does not mean that everyone needs to like it. And we all have a right to self-preservation and a right to bear arms. If you like this content, do me a favor, scroll down this video a little bit, hit that subscribe button. Helps me out, helps you out, keeps up to date. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what I have for you today. The scary so-called assault weapon that this governor likes to talk about. Now, before we do anything, we're going to show the magazine is empty. I'm going to show there's nothing in there. Nice and easy, and we are on safe. Wonderful. We're going to break this down a little bit into the upper and the lower, the two main parts that make up an Ar-15. So this is the standard Ar-15 upper, or upper receiver, formerly known. It's just shorthand, makes everything better. So we're going to go front to back, back to front. If you're dyslexic like me, then it's it's a little bit different. We're going to start off with the muzzle device. The muzzle device, all it's used for is to cycle the gas away from the barrel and away from you, the supposed fire of the firearm. You'll notice too that this upper is a little bit shorter, and that is because this is a 14.5-inch barrel with a pin and welded muzzle device on there. And if you can kind of see, there's a little pin right there. Basically tells you that, hey, I can't take this off by hand because usually these just screw on. You know, you can switch out muzzle devices pretty easily because they're all screw on. They all got the same thread count. But this is what makes it legal, is that this is welded to the barrel, and then I can't just take it off and make it an SBR and myself a felon. Now, on this rifle, there is Magpul Pro metal sights. These do flip up and flip down. However, I've always found it to be easiest just to keep them up, because when you're rocking a red dot, green dot. Now, on this rifle, there is a third cohesion between the dot on the actual red dot and the Magpul Pro sights. What that means, super simple, is that the dot is here and the iron sights start here. So that way, if there is a failure of operation on the actual red dot, you can still rely on good old iron sights. What's cool about these iron sights on this rifle is that there is 2 modes of sight. There is the short distance, if you flip this down, and then there is also long distance. Either way, it all is seen through just like that. So the next thing is that this rifle has a weapon light. This is a Streamlight ProTech with a pressure pad combo. Super simple, it's nice and affordable. And on this rifle, it is taped down because, well, 1, I'm the one that built this, and 2, I'm cheap. So what this means is that I can actuate the pressure pad, shine it on the door, and there is a button for constant on. A little secret, this is what I do on this rifle, is I, for momentary push, just keep pressing that button because this pressure pad is kind of dying. It's old. It is what it is. It's really, really nice to have that momentary on with that pressure pad and button. And it sits nicely in your hands, just like so. And this flashlight also has a strobing effect. So if you're pointing this weapon at someone coming at you, you hit the pad twice, it starts strobing, they're disoriented. You can get off a clean shot because it's not affecting the shooter of this rifle whatsoever. On the other hand, we have a vertical grip. This is a Magpul M-Lock vertical grip. And you can either hold it like this, it's all good, or if you're like me, if you want to be a pro operator.
You missed! How could you miss? It was 3 feet in front of you!
It's just a nice C grip, just like so. Now with the C grip, you can really pull the rifle into your shoulder, get a nice clean shot, and this just helps with recoil stability and just maintaining control of your weapon. Now for the really, really obvious part on this rifle, there is a very old school, it's old school to most people because most red dots now are smaller. However, this is a Vortex Strike Fire 2. It is a red and green dot optic, which is nice for me because I'm colorblind. Green is a lot easier to see in my eye than red. So I popped it on green. I've been hitting targets pretty well actually. So all you have to do is just flip up the caps just like so. Now if you notice on the front cap, it's kind of hard to see, but you can really feel it. There is a honeycomb pattern on the front end of your red dot with this vortex. Now, what that means is that if there is light shining on you, all it does is prevent glare, so that when an enemy sees it, they see it too late and you're already on top of them. It makes sense. It just diffuses any sort of glare you would get with a traditional scope, red dot, you name it. When there's glass, there's glare. It's just going to happen. On the back end, we have a Radiant Raptor charging handle. It's ambidextrous. You can really pop it out. But if I do that right now, the bolt's going to fly out. We don't want that. However, everything else is pretty much stock. The forward assist, all that does is that if your gun is jammed, you hit that button and it slams the bolt home. We'll take a look at that right now. I said I was going to unlock the bolt, but hey, let's unlock the bolt. So, this is your normal bolt carrier group. Very simple. It's chambered in 5.56 or 2.23. The thing with that is that if you are chambered in 5.56, you can shoot 2.23 as well. But if you're chambered in 2.23, you can't shoot 5.56 due to the different loads or power when it comes to the actual rounds themselves. But if you're chambered in 5.56, you're good to go. You can buy whatever you want. However, if you're 2.23, only shoot 2.23. So that's pretty much it for the upper receiver. Let's go take a look at that lower. So what's kind of cool about a lower receiver or a lower, they made it really super easy for us, honestly, is that you can actually buy the lower receiver all put together just like so. And all you do, you slap on your upper that you have or are going to buy. However, the thing with this is that this is the firearm to the government. This is what gets, registered or background check or what have you. This is what they're looking for. Why? Because gun laws are really stupid. That's why. But it's got a stock buffer tube. This stock is a Magpul stock. It has got a friction lock. So if I were to unlock it, obviously you just hold that lever. It's fully adjustable. And then usually on stocks that are adjustable like so, what they do is they kind of slop. They wiggle around a little bit, and that's just not comfortable in your shoulder. But for this Magpul one, this lever right here, you lock that down, and then you get no slop whatsoever. It's nice for me. I like it. However, some people don't mind it. I like having everything in nice, tight tolerances. As far as the trigger and trigger assembly, it's all stock. It's just a single stage trigger, which there's two types of triggers. There is a single stage trigger, which you just hit a wall, break, and the gun goes off, the hammer goes forward. A two-stage is when you hit a wall, and then there is a second wall that you use to break your trigger. So it's not all just one smooth action. You take up all the slop in the trigger, and then you sit on that wall until you're ready to fire. This is a single stage trigger. I'm comfortable with it. I have not tried a stage or a two-stage trigger yet. However, I'm willing to try. As far as everything else, everything is fully assembled. You got a nice bolt release. On this side, it's stock. Safety selector on one side. I'm not a fan of the ambi because I got big hands. I can reach a safety selector pretty easily without too much trouble. Obviously, when the gun is fully assembled, even so, I can still do it with one hand. Not a big deal for me. So, the pistol grip, though, is actually new on this rifle. This pistol grip is a Magpul. I was a COVID buy. What can I tell you? Magpul grip, pistol grip. It's nice. It's got a nice angle on it. I can easily keep this in my hand. It's nice and comfortable. It's not too up. It's not too forward. It's just a nice sit in the hand. And it comes with, which is kind of cool, it comes with a little compartment to stow batteries or oil, cleaning supplies, you name it. Alright, so I already got the first pin on the swivel, because that's always a pain if you're taking this fully apart. So after you do that, you just rock it in, slam the pin home, make sure you got working manual of arms, and that is your standard so-called assault weapon of the Ar-15. So to actually clean this weapon, it's very simple. We're going to field strip it. And honestly, they made it just as easy as anything else on a modern AR-15. Just kind of how like we took the upper off the lower. However, we're just going to take out that first pin like so. So now it's completely out. You can see, get my hand out of the way. It's completely out. It swings forward like so. And on this, take our charging handle. There's your bolt carrier group. We'll set that down. And we'll take our charging handle out. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this gun fires with the help of the charging handle and our bolt carrier group. So, this is how it's sitting inside the rifle, to where the gas tube hits the gas tube on the actual bolt carrier group. It rocks this bolt, pushes back, pushes the whole thing. And when it finally hits the end of that recoil spring with the buffer tube, it pushes it all back as it grabs another round, slams it back into battery, which means it's ready to go. And then you're ready to fire. On the underside, you will see that little pin. That's your firing pin. Hammer hits that, hits the bolt, and you're rocking and rolling yet again. To take it apart, it is super simple, however very delicate. You got to be careful with this. Sometimes it's very easy to get just like, you know, a round that you used or haven't used yet, to get that first pin out. As you can see, that's sticking out there now. You take out that pin. Kind of looks like a bobby pin, if you ask me. But now, if we let it go, your firing pin is just going to usually fall right out, depending on how dirty it really is. This one is relatively clean. I mean, obviously my fingers are getting a little smudged, but hey, it's the part of doing business. To take the bolt away from the bolt carrier group, we got to get that cam pin out. Now, it already kind of happened, so I'll show you it again. So usually it's like this, fully locked up, ready to go. So we push that bolt down, and now we got to get that pin out. To get that pin out, you just slowly rotate it 90 degrees to where it's a little bit shorter on one side. You pull that out. That's your cam pin. And then, just like so, you pull your bolt out. Super simple. Put it back. Just reverse the process. Take your bolt, line up the holes, take your cam pin, put your cam pin in, rotate it. I usually just give it a couple presses just to make sure it works. Then, you take your firing pin. You usually go at the underside, just give it a little bit of work on that. So, I'll show you that again. So, we will rock that in the backside. It just flies right back in. Super nice. And then we take our very, very small pin. Make sure it's lined up. You can actually see light through. And then we will do something like just like that. So now it's fully pushed in. We got a working bolt. So what we'll do is we'll take our rifle. We will first take our charging handle. Slide that in like so. Take our bolt carrier group. Thread that line. Slam it in. Close it up. Hit that pivot pin back. Make sure it's working. And then that's how you take apart the bolt carrier group. Super easy. So that was our second segment. Now, let me go surprise you with the third and final segment of Reload Revelation. So the third segment of this show, Reload Revelation, we just kind of take a look at some cool gear, some fun things, and just overall wrap up what we kind of talked about. So for our third segment, we have a very special thing near and dear to my heart. It was a Christmas gift from my mom, and it's actually this. It is absolutely frigid in the entire country, so why not kind of upgrade at least a base layer. It's got 2 zippers here on your main zipper, and then it's got cuff sleeves to cut out that wind. You just Velcro them down like so, and this one just like that. Now the cool thing about this is that, I'll take a step back, it's got pockets galore. It's got pockets upon pockets. More pockets than I can possibly stuff with useless crap. However, it's got a nice chest pocket right there. It's got 2 sleeve pockets to grab some stuff like pens, markers, maps, stuff like that. On the inside, it's got an interior pocket and a pouch pocket up here. It's very nice. It's got 2 pockets below. Here, I'll take a step back. It's got 2 pockets below with zipper pockets corresponding to those pockets. And of course, we have morale patch placement marks right here. And of course, this one right here. I like this one. It was, I like beer, sue me. However, this hem is actually a lowered hem in the back, so it kind of covers your butt, which is amazingly nice. And of course, we have a hood to when you're going out hiking and whatnot. You have a nice hood to keep your ears and everything out of the wind. And of course, it drawstrings down so you can get a nice tight cinch on your hoodie. And even, it's got this little piece of fabric, if I lower my hat like that, to keep your hat in line. That's one of the coolest things. They call it a peak hood. It's very nice. It's very warm. Like, most of the winter, I've had this on, and it's totally fine. Now, obviously, when it's, Siberia out there, another question. But for the most part, it's a nice hoodie. It's a nice hoodie, and you can get it at bearskin.tactical.com. It is, I believe, the 3.0 hoodie, and this hoodie is just very, very warm, comfortable. You can move around in it. Everything is just cinched up nice, and that's the fun gear for the day. Thank you everyone so much for watching the very first episode of Reload Revelation with me, Ryan Souls. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, be sure to comment, give a like, all that hoo-ha. And as always, remember these 5 rules from Reload Revelation when handling firearms. Never point your firearm at anything you don't intend on shooting. Know what is behind your target at all times. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to shoot. And of course, as always, have fun. Be safe. I'm Ryan Souls for Reload Revelation. Thank you so much for watching. Now go catch some R&R.